Hello and welcome to On the Other Hoof. You join us ahead of a busy weekend of racing. We have group action from Newbury, group action also from Ayr, and it's also the last day of the William Hill Ayr Gold Cup meeting with the Ayr Gold Cup and also the Ayr Silver Cup being run tomorrow. We had the Bronze Cup today, which seemed to be an intriguing race, potentially favouring horses drawn on the far side. We'll get into that a little bit later on, but we do have a busy day of racing ahead of us, and also we are going to be trying to fit this in before the rugby starts. England playing Fiji in the opening game of the 2015 Rugby World Cup this evening. So we will be trying to rattle through these just fast enough, and we promise that we will be finished by the time England kick off later on at 8 o'clock. Joining me tonight, as always, we have Adam Webb and Callum Medell. Good evening, gentlemen.
Evening. 6 seconds you got to mention a certain bookmaker that's sponsoring tomorrow. I'm quite proud of you.
Oh, yeah, well done, Luke, well done.
All right, Mr. Timeform. Firstly, apologies if there is a delay on the video tonight. Firstly, I question why you're watching the video and not just listening to it, because we are not attractive people. But apologies if there is a bit of a delay on what I'm saying to sound, but I can't help that. Apparently, the further south I go, the worse the internet gets, which is ironic. But thank you for joining us tonight on the Other Hoof. We'll be getting through the 8 races on Channel 4 in just a little bit. Very quickly, how did our naps get on last week?
If I count Sundays, it won, but you won't let me.
No,
George
can't
Bowen
count Sunday.
absolutely bolted up. Home and
No
away
count. No, that should count.
Yes!
No.
I'm counting it. If Callum says so,
I
a majority
have
vote.
spoken. No.
Then again, my Sunday nap got beat, so...
Yeah. Cal, what are you arguing for, mate?
My Saturday nap won, so...
Yeah, Saturday night won, yeah, he did, so, yeah.
I don't even know what I know.
Bolted up. Not had a win since.
Oh, you had the double, Sanus Paraquim and Lightning Spear.
The double when none of them won.
Yeah, well, that takes some doing, well done.
Good work, Vic. Right, that was a ridiculous fail. As always, we are on slightly earlier tonight, so thank you for joining us at this earlier time. You can tweet us and get your questions, fancies, whatever you want for the upcoming weekend of action. Just tweet us at On The Other Hoof and we'll read out any question, fancy, whatever you want to send in, within reason. Of course, at the end of the show. The first race we're going to be covering, though, is the 145 from Newbury, the Dubai Duty-Free Legacy Cup, also known as the quote-unquote Arc Trial, which, surprisingly, guys, this year we might actually have one horse that could make the Arc in the likes of Eagle Top.
Yeah, he could, and he deserves to be odds on, I think, with the way his form is. I mean, he's got the best form in the race. He was second last time out behind Postponed, who came out last weekend and won the Pre-Foy. It's a deep race. Even with Eagle Top in there, I think he's the best horse in the race. I think he should win comfortably. But there are others in this race you can really consider. The Corsican is obviously one of those, but I do have a slight concern about how testing the ground is. I know he's won on good to soft in the past, and I like the horse a lot, but I don't think tomorrow he's for me. I just mentioned 2 others. Uti Hill is a horse I like. I know Callum likes as well. And the ground was too quick for him behind Star of Seville. And he nearly went in my horses to follow list this year, but Roger Charlton has said he was more of a long-term prospect, so I thought I'd leave him out. And he's a horse more for next year. And I do think at the prices, I think Sky Hunter is overpriced. Even though he's got a £5 penalty, his record is pretty decent, and he won. I remember him winning over course and distance last October on similar ground, and he was really impressive that day. I think, weighing it up though, I think Eagle Top can win. I think Sky Hunter's the one that is likely to chase him home, and Uti Hill more one for next season.
It is I get what you mean. It is a race that's got a bit of depth to it. I was disappointed last time with Eagle Top and the King George. I thought he'd win that, to be honest, especially with Golden Horn coming out. It was obviously doubly declared for tomorrow. They've decided to come to Newbury. It's slightly softer ground, which after the King George, he's proven that won't be any kind of problem whatsoever. The trip's no worry at all. The one worry I had after the King George is that I thought that Eagle Top was a little bit recalcitrant to go forward and really go past Postponed. However, after the Pre-Foy, I'm now of the mindset that Postponed is a very good horse, and also he's a very tough horse. He's a horse that just doesn't want to let anything past him, which, in fairness, you can excuse Eagle Top for that, because they were a long way clear of the rest, albeit probably weren't Group 1 standard animals. However, they did put a lot of distance between themselves and the rest, and this is a much weaker race, especially with, like Adam's saying, Sky Hunter would be one of the main dangers, one not too badly last time out. He's coming back from a break, though, of 196 days. However, he does have to give that a bit of weight to Eagletop, who is already a better horse on ratings. He's, what, £6 clear of Sky Hunter, and he's got to give that penalty away, which will make life tougher. It will. I'd be surprised if Eagletop wasn't winning this. Whether I'd be betting in it, I'm not sure, because he is 4-5 currently. He may just be one to try and boost up multiples a little bit to start off the day. But Eagletop should be winning this. It's a horse that I've quite liked for a long time. I think I put him up, actually, guys, as my main horse to follow for the season.
Yeah, you did.
Which
He's done alright.
He's done okay.
If you'd have backed him with race bets each way for the King George, you'd have got your money. So
yeah, it was 16 to that point. I'll take that. I'll take that. Anything to make what a dismal season it's been seem good. Callum, the Arc Trial, how do you see this going?
I haven't really got much of an opinion from a betting point of view. I think it's a pretty solid mark, isn't it, with Eagletop being favourite and fully deserves to be. Looked like handled the ground absolutely fine in the King George when it was really soft, and he's bred to soft ground and seemed to really. I think probably agree with you, Luke, in terms of the postponed is a very tough cookie, and you know, he's proven since by winning the Foy last week as well. You'd expect him to win, wouldn't you? Of course, he can. He's a nice horse. Yeah, I've got reservations about really soft ground. Uta Hill should like it. He won his maiden on soft. Found it too quick at Newbury in April. Haven't been seen since, and got beat by the Dean winner that day anyway. It's a nice horse, Uta Hill. I liked early in the season, so we just see how it goes. Shooting Sky Hunters out for the run. I think potentially maybe even the Melbourne Cup. I don't know. Could be an interesting option for him. No interest from a betting point of view. I think Eagletop should win.
Yeah, that's fair enough. It is a tricky enough race to get started for all that we do have a short price favourite in the Arc Trial. The second race to cover, I say we'll be rattling through these tonight in a case of we want to watch the rugby, and we have moved this forward. They have stolen our time slot. The second race is at Ayr, the 2 o'clock. It's the Group 3 William Hill Firth of Clyde Stakes. We've got a few runners in this as well, with 14 fillies going to post for the 6 furlong Group 3. It's a wide open race, Adam. Priceless is a horse that I was really impressed with on debut. She comes here on only her second start, though, which it might be a bit of a jump up for the Clive Cox filly.
It might be, but the impression she left at Haydock was really good. I mean, she was 20-1 on debut, and with her pedigree, she obviously caught the eye, but the way she won like a 1-20 shot. It was just sensational, the turn of foot she showed, and how effortless it looked as well. Even though it's a second start, I think she's entitled to improve plenty for that outing. And in a field like this, I think she obviously is a clear one to beat, and she has been well backed. She was 3s earlier on, and I'm seeing she's as short as 9-4 now. I think she wins this. The one that I'm going to put up to chase her home is Lady Claire, who ran in the Lowther and ran a really nice race, I thought, in 4th. The 5th horse came out today, Quiet Reflection, absolutely dotted up. I know Eastern Angel disappointed, but I think Eastern Angel's been on the go for plenty long enough now. And I think she's a fair filly, and I think she'll chase her home. I'll put that up as a forecast. Priceless beat Lady Claire.
Yeah, I was seemingly as taken as you were with Priceless on debut at Haydock. I think, Callum, me and you were having a conversation last night or a couple of nights ago about Priceless and the other Clive Cox horse, Zonderland. Did we agree in the end that Priceless was the more impressive out of the two?
Yeah, it was a very impressive performance. I think I was just similarly as impressed as with Sunderland, but visually, Priceless, won it on the bridle, didn't she? So, yeah, she looks a very smart filly in the making. Yeah,
Clive Cox does generally leave a fair bit on his horse's first time out as well. Priceless, I imagine, would have been one of the more straightforward ones. However, to win like that on debut, and what didn't look a weak maiden, has to be said, at Haydock, on the ground that should suit tomorrow, that would be absolutely fine. I can see her going really, really well. Around the 11-4 price, I think she could well be a bet in that. Off the each-way alternatives, I liked Delizia for a while. Her form from the early part of the season has seemed to tail off. 12-1, probably wouldn't be tempted to go in at that price. One that I do like, though, is Silhouette, who I saw on debut at Carlisle when I was covering it in the studio, and I was quite taken with her, but I didn't think the race was overly that strong. I've completely been proven wrong with that, as that form has been franked in a few places, and she won really well last time out in a much stronger race. Now, she's not the biggest of fillies at all. The softer side of good, we'll call it, ground tomorrow shouldn't inconvenience her all that much, but she does look to be fairly full of class, and I've just got the feeling that she's got the same kind of entries that Rosina had. Rosina was 4th today.
Yeah.
I think it was, yeah, in the was it listed race up the Rosebery Stakes up at Ayr. She's had the same kind of entries, and I just get the feeling they think that Silhouette's a little bit better than Rosina. So 8-1, I can see Silhouette going fairly well for PJ McDonald and Duffield, but I'm finding it fairly hard to see Priceless beaten if she can show that natural progression from first run into second run. But if you were to throw one in each way, it would be Silhouette for the Anne Duffield team. We're having a good season with their 2-year-olds as well. Let's not forget that, and they seem to be in decent enough form as of late as well. Callum, I think we're all going to go for Priceless here. Are we going to make this a clean sweep?
Yeah. I'm not really convinced by. I mean, she could be too good for them. I'm not really convinced by anything in particular. Lady Claire thought kind of picked up pieces and allowed, but it was a really strong race. Arguably the strongest filly race in the season, and this is weaker. So I probably agree with Adam that she chases her home.
Yeah, it does. It does look a race that should be fairly straightforward, but differentiate. Let's try that one again, huh? Differentiation in opinion of what's going to chase Priceless home. I've gone for Silhouette, and you guys going for. You both going for Lady Claire?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, for Lady Claire.
Fair
enough on that. Each way, obviously. The third race that we're going to be covering is the 2:15 at Newbury, the Dubai duty-free Mill Reef Stakes, a Group 2 over 6 furlongs, and that all-important 8 yards. Just a 6 going to post here. It's a interesting race in the fact that I think I've got a few of these I've got in mind for horses for the future, with the likes of Raucous. Ribchester seems to be going in the right direction, has now been purchased by Godolphin as well from the Richard Fahey yard. So there's a few bits of potential that could be going forward here, Adam. Raucous definitely, I think, is one I spoke to you about at York, that could definitely be shape up into be a Guineas horse maybe next year, but has to show a bit more a step forward.
I'd agree with that. I do see Raucous turning over the form with Ribchester on this off the ground tomorrow. It's not the best Mill Reef. In fact, I think it's quite a poor race. The front two in the market, I think it's between, and of the pair, I prefer Raucous, who's already got proven form on soft ground where he beat Orbar, who has since come out and won in Turkey. And he just looks a horse, I think, that will progress as time goes on. And tomorrow's conditions, I favour him over Ribchester. Of the rest, I'm not convinced anymore by Logout Island. I've not been convinced about him for a while now, and I don't think soft ground is what he wants. Of the rest, King Robert could run well. I think Whitman will want faster ground, and the outsiders are 49 rated horses here for the £1,000 prize money to finish 6th. So I think Raucous wins this.
Yeah, unfortunately, I agree with you on this. I have to say, I saw Raucous on debut, and he just looks like a horse that's going to progress with each and every run. Ran really well in the Gimcrack last time out, and when I saw him on debut, it was a 2-runner race. I was with Tom Stanley at the time, and we were saying to each other, this is going to be a really poor maiden and not work out whatsoever. And then Raucous has gone and finished 3rd in the Gimcrack after winning another race along the way. And also the horse that was 2nd of the 2 to finish in that race has gone out and won its maiden since. So that's turning out to be a fairly decent maiden for only a 2-runner affair. But Raucous is a horse that I've definitely got on my mind for next season. As mentioned to Adam, potentially he could work out to be a live Guineas outsider next year. I don't really know whether he's got enough scope to really be landing a prize that big, but as Adam mentioned as well, and rightly mentioned, this doesn't look the strongest renewal of the Mill Reef at all. Logout Island's really disappointed since early season promise. Ribchester's going in the right direction. He'd probably be the one to beat for Raucous. King Robert's an interesting one, does have to take a significant step up. Salt Lake City simply shouldn't be here, trying to pick up a little bit of prize money for Salt Lake City, and you could never really rule out a Mark Johnston horse with Whitman, who's got a certain level of form, but again, is another one like King Robert that will have to step up on what he's shown us so far. For me, it's boring, I know. It's between Raucous and Ribchester. I'd be siding with Raucous, though, who for me showed enough in the Gimcrack to warrant that he should be going fairly well here, and I agree with Adam that he'll be overturning that form with Ribchester, and I'd much rather back Raucous at 5-2 than Ribchester at 15-8, in the fact that Raucous is already a dual winner. Ribchester's had 2 goes and he hasn't yet got his head in front, which may be a little bit harsh on Ribchester, and probably is very harsh indeed, but I'll be siding with Raucous. And Callum, we've got the opportunity here to make it a clean sweep in 2 races in a row. Are you siding with Raucous as well?
Yeah, I will actually. I think he's very raw beast, isn't he, Raucous? That's why I think there's improvements come for every start. He has looked a bit quirky at times, but it might literally just be his inexperience. I thought Ribchester kind of was ready to pick up the pieces last time, and I'm not fully convinced he's all that yet. He's still making it at the end of the day. And I think Raucous has got more improvement potentially to come and should probably be fab over the two. Logger Allen's done his improving. And I do think the Brian Smart horse isn't to be underestimated. It's not one that's got to improve a good deal, but I know they rated it quite early, so I think that could run well. But I think Raucous is your most likely winner.
Yes, fairly unanimous vote then for the second race running. Priceless in the race before, and now Raucous, all three of us siding with. Hopefully we'll disagree in the next one. I'd be absolutely stunned if we didn't agree in the next one. Didn't disagree, in the next one I should say, because we've got 25 runners to cipher our way through with the William Hill Ayr Silver Cup. But over 6 furlongs, as I mentioned, 25 go to post here. Adam, it's a wide open race. The likes of Eccleston are at the head of the market, around 8-1, but has been in fantastic form this season, just missing out on the big one itself.
Yeah, he won last time out at Firth. He was well backed on that occasion, and here I think he's got a big chance. And he's drawn fairly well. I mean, today the draw, I think you want to be middle to far side, and in this race in particular, there's plenty of pace, low numbers. You've got Kimberelli, you've got Hillbilly Boy, you've got Chucky Royale, who are probably going to go forward. And I'm hoping again that it's going to set up for George Bowen, who was really impressive at the Curragh last week in the Bold Lad handicap, proving how well handicapped he was, as I said in the video last week. And he only gets in here off a £5 penalty, and I still think there's plenty more to come from him. The funny thing was, when he won the Grey Horse handicap, I had him in mind for next year's sprints. I thought they'd look after him a bit, but obviously they're going to strike while the iron's hot, and he's hopefully going to win again tomorrow. I still see him as a top-class sprinter, a top-class sprinting handicapper, and next year I think he'll be still interesting. Others I will consider. Obviously, I'll consider Hillbilly Boy, and I hope he runs well for Tom Dascombe after the weekend of Brown Papa. Horrible, horrible story there. Poor horse. Didn't deserve it, and it's a sad loss. Hayley Turner's got the ride. I think she'll get a good ride off him, and I can see him finishing in the frame at least. And I'm going to give one other a chance. I'm going to give Desert Force another go. His third at 2 starts ago reads quite well, and he is the type that I think could strike in one of these races. He did have a few problems earlier in the season. If he's over them completely, I think he could go well. But George Bowen is, for a 25 runner handicap, Richard Fahey could win both the big sprints tomorrow, and I'm really confident in George Bowen that he can do it again.
George Bowen did look like a very, very well handicapped horse indeed. At the Curragh last week, he travelled very, very well in what looked to be a fairly muddling race. But Hillbilly Boy, obviously, on this show, we know him fairly well in the fact that he used to be trained by Martin Smith. We got an interview before he ran at Royal Ascot, 2 years ago? No, 1 year ago now, isn't it? Yeah, about 1 year ago. Just
15 years ago then.
Just over. And he's a horse that we've become fairly closely associated. Disappointing, he's now moved to the Tom Dascombe yard, but that's none of our concern. He ran really well last time out in a very good race, and I was surprised that the handicapper didn't touch him, but for a long time I was hoping that he was going to go for the Ayr Gold Cup. He hasn't got in, clearly. He missed out just by 3, but he does get into this race. It looks a competitive affair, but he doesn't look unduly badly handicapped. He could well be a much better horse than 96 suggests. Around the 14-1 mark, I'd be very willing to take him each way. He's got a very good draw as well in stall 3 if he can get out. And then he should be a danger to all. And also, I spoke to Richard Kingscote at Kempton last week sometime, and he just said last time he went too fast, and he's a much better horse than he showed on that day. But he ran a really gutsy race and stayed there throughout the end, probably against horses that are better than him. Of the rest, Eccleston's a horse that I'm a bit of a fan of. Callum, would you agree that with Eccleston you want a little bit softer ground?
Yeah, I would completely agree. Early in the week I was fully expecting myself to back him. I think he goes on good ground. I know he goes on good ground. He has one on good ground, but ideally he wants a bit of cut.
Yeah, that's the one thing that's really putting me off him. Adam mentioned Desert Force, who is a horse that I've followed for a long time. There's a horse, in fairness, both of us have followed for a long time. We saw him on debut at Ascot. He seemed to be a horse that was going in the right direction at the start of this season. He lost out to Twilight Sun at Newmarket, and Richard Hughes got off and said to Henry Candy, I don't know what you've got, but I was sitting on a group horse. He lost to Twilight Sun in a handicap, and he's just gone the wrong way since then. He had 2 runs where he just stopped very, very quickly, and that was alarming. But at the Shergar Cup, he ran really well. Has kept on in quite a nice style. And then last time, he didn't really do the same thing. He just sort of faded and petered out of it, which was a bit of a disappointing run. He's the kind of horse, I completely agree with what Adam said, actually, that could just pop up at any time. Whether it's tomorrow at 25-1, I'm not 100% sure of that. Boy in the Bar would be another horse that I'd be willing to give another chance now with Ed Giles. Wayne Lorden's an interesting jockey working aboard Boy in the Bar. But for win purposes, I think the only bet I'd have in the race would be Hillbilly Boy. He's about 14-1. Hayley Turner would be a decent swan song for her to have, obviously retiring at the end of the season. Callum, I imagine this is a race that you've got about 17 tracker horses in.
No.
Really? Wow.
You're very wrong. I did have a couple, to be fair, but mainly because of the ground, I won't back them. Jamaican Bolt was actually one. I thought that shaped really nicely the other day, but that went softer ground at the big prices. Look, I can't complain with the horses ahead in the market. George Bowen got a scream of a ride from James Spencer the other day in a strong race at the Curragh. I think he's got more to come, really, off this mark if he can overcome what's quite a quick turnaround. Obviously, he's gone to Ireland and back, etc. Eccleston, like I said, I think if the ground was softer, I'd be very keen on him. Jahara shaped really well in the same race at Thirsk that Eccleston won. Chris Wall's 2 from 2 at Ayr in the last 5 years, apparently, as well. Nick that from Spotlight, so I'm not getting any credit for that. Hillbilly Boy, I can see the reasoning for him. I think 6 furlongs will be ideal for him. But again, I mean, if you're ruling out Eccleston because you want a bit of rain, can you not say the same for Hillbilly Boy?
Yeah, you could.
I don't think he needs it soft, though.
Well,
he just doesn't want it rattling
fast. That's the same with Eccleston. It's the same with Eccleston, isn't it? It's that ideally he'd want a bit softer. Do you not think?
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that, but I think Eccleston would be more dependent on softer ground than Hillbilly Boy would.
I think I'd have them in the same boat, to be honest.
Okay.
They both won on or run well on good ground. I mean, there shouldn't be any issue for them tomorrow. But ideally, I'd be more keen on them if it was good to soft ground. Let's just put it at that, really.
I wouldn't disagree.
I think Fendale's worth a chance. The 3-year-old thought he ran well at York the other day. Maybe just coming back to form. I think he's really well handicapped. And he was well regarded last year when he was with Brian Smart. He's not been with Dodds for long. The Yard are in okay form. Yeah, I mentioned towards Fendale, I think, but I think loads at the head of the market are worth giving chances to, and I'm not sure if I'm going to have a bet in it.
Really?
No, there's too many to consider. I can't put my finger on even 2 or 3.
Fair enough. Interesting. That's one of the shocks of the show. I'm going to go for that one.
It's a new Callum. I'm fed up of backing losers, so I can't be doing a 26 runner handicap.
Wait, when you say a new Callum, do you mean a broke Callum?
Oh.
And with that, let's move on. Let's move on to the fifth race. Let's move on to the 5th race of the show, which is the 250 at Newbury, the Dubai Duty Free Handicap. A Ramal at 2 furlongs and 6 yards. 18 going to poster. I'm going to start with Callum this time because the horse that I have to give him credit for, because he's been raving about this horse for quite a while. He's finally, Callum, going to get his conditions tomorrow. That is Top Tug with Sir Michael Stout and Jamie Spencer on board. Yeah,
don't give me the credit about raving about a horse that's been a constant disappointment all season. Yeah, it's a weird one. The ground is perfect for him tomorrow, you'd think. It's absolutely bottomless. Jamie Spencer on board, I'm sure, will make good use of him. And I will say now, I don't think there's anyone riding better at the moment than Jamie Spencer. I think he's running out of his skin.
Yeah.
Paddy Mathers.
Yeah, Paddy Mathers is up there. Yeah, you're right, actually. Yeah, I've already backed Top Tug 7-1. I think it's a very fair price. The one I'm really wary about against him, and I will definitely back as well, is Cumro, the Tom Dascombe horse, who bolted up at Haydock last time. Much stronger race today, but he's really well in, I think, still under a penalty, because he absolutely dotted up. I think he's £2 well in under a penalty, Adam, is that right? Yeah?
Yeah, he's right, yeah.
It is, yeah. And the ground is going to be ideal for him. He looked a perfect autumn type who was just going to improve and improve throughout this autumn. I think he's got a big race in him, and he's also grey, like Top Tug. So yeah, I mean he's not grey Top Tug. I don't know why I've caught about that.
I was gonna say.
Yeah. Like... I thought Top Tug was a grey for some reason. I'm awful at
that. He's massive chestnut with a massive white face and massive 4 socks.
I know. Shut up. Yeah, they're the two I'm going to back.
For a horse that you've lost a considerable amount of money on over the season, you should know the Top Dog is not
Shut
great.
Shut up.
Oh,
That's for the outtakes.
for what it's worth, I have also backed Top Tug yesterday afternoon. You can still get 7-1. I mean, it's not off the timing at all. You can still get exactly the same price. It is softer ground. You're right there, Cal.
No.
The ground's going to be absolutely perfect for him. I think we're talking at York when it was faster ground 3 outings ago, I think it was, after its Newmarket run, and the ground was just too fast for him, and we decided there and then that he does need soft ground. He's going to get that tomorrow. That's going to be perfect. And Jamie Spencer, a really good jockey booking. I don't think Ted Durkin, I don't like slating jockeys, but I don't think Ted Durkin gave him the best of rides at Goodwood, and York last time we'll forget, I think. But Top Tug at about 7-1, I think's a fair enough price on that front. For if you're playing the play, well, if you're in the play spot, then the horse for you is Pacify. He's just always placed. Paddy O'Donnell takes a further £5 off. Whether he'd win, I've given him a fair amount of chances this year. And no, I know what you're thinking. I didn't back him when he won at Newmarket in that 2-runner race against. Was it Resonant? Was it?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, no, I didn't back him in that. But 8-1 tomorrow, he could be. Huh?
Outsider of 2 rule. You got the outsider of 3 rule and now the outsider of 2 rule.
Yeah, about that. Pacify would be the one for each way purposes. I'd want a little bit bigger on him, whether you're going to get that because he is such a consistent horse. But Paddy O'Donnell taking £5 off, I wouldn't back him. I have backed Top Tug at about 7-1. The ground's going to be fine, the trip's going to be fine. Surely tomorrow has to be the day for Top Tug with Jamie Spencer on board. However, Adam, I know you're a big fan of Cumro.
I am. He was really impressive at Haydock last time out, and the fact that he was easing up, it just showed how comfortable the win was. And he only gets a £5 penalty here. I think he's better than that mark as well. Soft ground is no issue. I think he is the one to beat in this field. I know I respect Top Tug. I don't know about you two, but I wasn't fully convinced 12 furlongs was his trip last time out. I think dropping back in trip will help him. Or maybe it was the tactics as well. I mean, to be fair to him, I think Frankie Dettori, in a way, did the right thing from the wide draw in getting across and allowing him to go forward rather than sitting and suffering out the back. So it's one of them strange odds. But I prefer Cumro tomorrow over Top Tug. Those at bigger prices. Monjol, he's one of them horses. He's got so much talent, but he isn't the soundest of horses. Apparently, he did one of his knees after the Lincoln. That's why we didn't see him until York, and he didn't run very well at York. But he's just one of those that could just strike, and softer ground I think will help him because he's a fairly big horse as well. But there's one at a big price. I followed them off a cliff, but Master of Finance and First Time Blinkers at 25s I think is a fair price with Lou Stewart claiming free, the handicap king at the moment. Gave Sex a wonderful ride last week, and Bronze Angel as well, who's unfortunately gone up another £4 for the Cambridgeshire next week. Cumro is the selection. I will put up Master of Finance each way as well.
Another competitive race. We're split down the middle with Cumro and Top Tug. Moving on though to the 3:10 at Ayr, the William Hill Doonside Cup, a listed race over in Marlin, 2 furlongs. We do already have 2 non-runners in this. That is Eagle Top, who we spoke about earlier on. He's running in the Arc Trial at Newbury, and also we've got Heaven's Eyes, who really shouldn't have been in this race to start with, off a mark of 79 anyway. But nonetheless, Adam, it is still a wide open race. We've got the likes of Chill the Kite, who was an impressive winner at York last time out. Top Notch Tonto, who I'm sure will be popular with absolutely everyone on course tomorrow. And also Scottish, who seems to be an improving 3-year-old for Andrew Balding.
Yeah, I'm a real judge at York, because when he turned for home at York, Jill the Kite, I turned to Michael, who backed him, and said, well, he's 15 lengths at the back, you're not going to get anywhere, are you? And lo and behold, he went and won. It was an incredible performance. One of the performances of the week at York, off that mark as well. I was absolutely blown away, really impressed by him. I think he is one of those that wants big field handicaps. I think he's still in the Cambridgeshire next week, and he will find life very tough in that off his mark. If he is in there, he may be even just having a run here to go there next week. But the one I do like in this race, there are several at top of the market I like, but me and Callum both agree that Scottish is a really nice horse. I just think last time out the ground was too soft for him at Deauville. The ground has been horrible.
Oh, it's just ridiculously keen. That was the whole
ridiculously
reason,
keen as well.
wasn't
But
it?
I still think the ground was too soft for him, because there's not many horses that have been going on there. I think a strongly run 10 furlongs will really suit him here. I mean, he does stay 12. He was second behind Space Age at Royal Ascot, then improved to be second behind the Grade 1 winner Highland Reel. And I really like the horse. And plus he's a gelding, so we know he's going to stay in training next year. I think he could be a very smart horse. I will say very quickly, I do respect the two above him in the market. Exosphere went into my tracker after the Wood Ditton on debut, and I haven't backed him in any of his winning starts since, so God knows why I put him in my tracker. And Mutakayev, I thought that was a really good run at York, first time out behind Grade 1 winner Mondial East. That slung right by Fergal Lynch that was last week, but Mutakayev, I think he deserves to be favourite, but at the prices I have to be with Scottish.
I think I have a very strong feeling anyway that we'll all be agreeing on Scottish, who I thought ran an absolute gem of a race. Glorious Goodwood behind Adam, as you mentioned, now Grade 1 winner, Highland Reel. He's disappointing last time, but as Callum mentioned, he was too keen, and also on a ground that was a bit too soft is perfectly excusable for him over in France. Tomorrow he's got no excuses at all. The trip's going to be fine, the ground's going to be fine. I think 6-1 is a really fair price about Scottish. I'll definitely be backing him. He's definitely going in the right direction as well. If there's one that I was going to take against him and to potentially try and get him beat, it probably would be Chill the Kite, who seemed to be in as good a form as ever. However, stepping back up to this class of race, it might just find him out a little bit. He's running against better horses. However, saying that, you can counter that by saying he was so impressive last time out. As Adam mentioned, turning for home, he had no chance, and he won fairly cosily in the end. Graham Lee takes the ride on him tomorrow, around the same price, 6-1. I would rather be with Scottish, but if I can envisage anything beating Scottish, it would be Chill the Kite. Also, I did miss out on non-runner a bit earlier on as well, so that's my bad. Apologies for that. Lily Rules also.
Very quickly as well, Firefighting has run number 6. We're 50% of the way there. We need another 6 runs before the November handicap.
I was going to say, literally, that was my next point. Adam hasn't mentioned how many times Firefighting's run. But
yeah, I just saw him then.
We can tick that one off the list.
Well, and then he'll run in the Cambridgeshire next week, so there's run number 7, because he's in that. So yeah. And he'll probably run at Chelmsford in the midweek. Now, I would, Callum, ask you what you think of the race, but I think a better way to ask the question would be, how far does Scottish win by?
Yeah, I hope so. I have backed this horse a couple of times, and he's done nothing wrong to prevent me from not backing him again, because I think he's a really nice sort. He needs a bit to learn. He hasn't been settling in his races. He was a bit keen early on at Goodwood. He was way too keen at Deauville. The slight drop in triple will help that. There's a bit of pace on. There's a couple of horses that like to go forward. And I just think he's massively underestimated in the market. For all, Exosphere was an impressive winner of a Sandown handicap last time. He beat Mount Logan, and Mount Logan is a nice horse himself, but he was running off such a big weight. And the 4th Green Lights were no sort of race since. I don't think it was all that good a race, to be honest, and I think this needs a lot of a bit more improvement. Mutakayev, I've got no complaints with at all, being favourite. Always been a horse that's been well regarded, well bred as well. Ran a stormer on his return. Fully deserves to be favourite, but Scottish is just the wrong price. Top Notch Tonto won a bit of giant ground. Got quite a few negatives for Chill the Kite, to be honest. No George Baker, the trip, and if he gets a good pace to aim at, so I wouldn't be for him. I think Scottish is a good bet in that.
It does look well, 6-1. I think it is far too big about Scottish. I think he should be a lot shorter in that race, where there are more question marks about the others, definitely, and then there are about him. Just the 2 more races to cover, though, here on The Other Hoof this week. And as always, you can tweet us and get your questions, ideas and opinions across. Just tweet us at On The Other Hoof, and we'll read them out at the end of the show. 2 more races, as I mentioned, to cover. The 3:25 from Newbury will be the next race that we shall be talking about. The Dubai International Airport World Trophy. Group 3 over 5 furlongs and 30 at 4 yards. 12 horses go to post here, Adam. Now, we have to... I'm going to save Adam doing it, because last year we put up the On The Other Hoof forecast in this with Mecca's Angel to beat Justice Day, wasn't it?
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
And Mecca's Angel, we all know, is now a Group 1 winner in the Nunthorpe. Justice Day came back to form last time out. He returns here to try and go one better this time around, Adam.
Yeah, he does. I also mentioned the Jad for the TriCast. I didn't put it up. I wish I had now. That would have been brilliant. And everybody could remember it. The amount of bad selections I put up, and the one good one, yeah, remember that. Yeah, it's good to see Justice Day get his confidence back in a way last time out, beating Dutch Masterpiece, who also reopposes here. But the way Steps won the Portland last week, I put him up last week because I thought the first time buys was really interesting. The first thing he did was he jumped from the stalls perfectly, and he just travelled so well through the race. He was the one that caught the eye from a long way out. Lucia gave him a really good ride. Jamie Spencer's on him here. I just think if he jumps from the stalls again, I think he can win this race as well. I mean, I remember he put him up saying that he probably improved last year, which he did do, but I still think he could win a group race, just as long as he breaks, and the ground is perfect for him tomorrow. I will put up the forecasts again. I'm going to put Justice Day in to finish second. But I'm not going to do the TriCast. We'll ignore the TriCast. But I think Kingsgate Native is, of the rest, I think could finish third. We've gone on and on and on about him not liking soft ground, but he actually goes in it now.
Yeah.
In his old age, if he could win this tomorrow, it would be fantastic. And I'd never begrudge Kingsgate Native running a good race, even if he beats my selection. Normally I'm cursing him, but you can't fail not to love the horse. So I hope he runs well tomorrow. I'm going to put up the Steps just to say forecast.
Yeah, I think everyone feels that way about Kingsgate Native. He's the horse that everyone, you don't have to back him to feel joy and pride out of him winning. He always runs the race as well. He was so proud of him 10 days ago with Doncaster, wasn't it, when he came second. So he's a horse that we all wish well and hope he goes forward, but probably won't backing him tomorrow. For me, Justice Day probably be the one that I'd take for win purposes, and this back on softer ground. He was second in this last year. God, as Adam mentioned, his confidence back last time at Leicester in just a conditions race, but it was a decent enough conditions race. We've got Dutch Masterpiece who was back in second. Those two were...
Sorry.
Dutch Masterpiece is back in second. Those two were a long way clear. Like nothing ever happened. The ultimate professional here. I feel sorry for Dutch Masterpiece, to be honest. He's got a lot of ability, but he's just not been the same horse after his injury. And he seems to be, for want of a better term, feeling something, because he always seems to be hanging towards his right. Whether George Baker's going to take him towards the near side rail, because he's Stall 8. Stall 8's nearer side, isn't it?
I wouldn't want to be on the near side railboat at Newbury. And I know I'm not the only person signed up to the theory that the better ground is up the middle. I think whenever I watch race in the UK, you always hear Steve Mellish say, I hate it when jockeys come to the stands rail because the ground up the centre is a lot quicker. And
that's fair enough.
Normally he's proven right as well, so it's a theory that must have served him well over the years.
It's more, it's not because there's better ground there that I'd say that, it's just to help him not hang. If you watch him back at Ascot and Sugar Cup Day, Pat Smollen couldn't take his hands off the reins because otherwise he was going to clean out Secret in the Park on his right, so he could never use the stick once. But look, I wouldn't put you off backing him, but he's not a horse to trust wholeheartedly. Justice Day would be the one that I take for win purposes. On softer ground, 5-1 I think is a decent enough price. I agree with you, Adam, regarding Steps. If he's back to his best, then he should be going very, very close in this indeed. And also Jamie Spencer, a very good jockey booking. One of the best, well, if not the best, hold-up jockey around riding for Roger Varian. He got a significant boost in his yard this week when Sheikh Mohammed Abay's Al Maktoum switched his horses towards Roger Varian from Luca Kamani, but we won't dwell into that. For me, Justice Day is your most likely winner on softer ground. Cam Hardy taking the ride for David Ellsworth. Currently 5-1, I think, is a decent enough price. Callum, a wide open race. And also, I want you to say thank you to Dutch Masterpiece for not running in the Ayr Gold Cup.
Thank you, Dutch Masterpiece, for not running in the Ayr Gold Cup. and wasting his opportunity of winning anything by running in this race where he hasn't really got much of a chance. I don't know. Steps, impressive last week. Very impressive last week. If he can back that up, and there shouldn't really be a reason why he shouldn't. I mean, he has run well with a quick turnaround before. Yeah, it was really, he looked right back to his best last time. So obviously, you know, he's going to have to not miss the break. But the ground is absolutely fine for him, and if he's in that sort of form, then he really is the one to beat here. Justice Day, nice confidence booster last time. I don't think he's been very well campaigned this season personally, but this is more his certain amount of level. I think they could have, to be honest, they should have stuck to handicaps off this mark, because they clearly think he's, you know, he's around group listed level, and he dropped to a mark about 104. So he's the kind of horse Almost expect to see in the Ayr Gold Cup.
Yeah, he was in the Ayr Gold Cup, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
Was he?
Yeah, they took him out. Yeah.
Okay.
You gotta
I
thank
can
him as
understand
well.
with the ground going as it is. There's a very good chance that he can gain a placed effort. Plenty of pace on Caspian Prince, Ridge Ranger, a couple of others. Great placement from Richard Hughes for Elysian Flyer. There's a few to consider. I think Steps is your most likely winner. I won't be backing at the prices. I don't want to find out if he's going to miss the break, etc. But I think he's your most likely winner after that impressive win last week.
Yeah, it's good to see Steps back in form in the Portland last week, in good form as well, and finally not missing the kick. The final race that we're going to be covering here on The Other Hoof this week is the 3:45 from Ayr. We're going to rattle through this very quickly, answer your questions very quickly as well, and then we can all go off and be happy watching the rugby instead of slaving over this. The William Hill Ayr Gold Cup is the 3:45 from Ayr, the last race to cover. Over 6 furlongs, Adam, 25 runners go to post here. It's a wide open renewal of the Ayr Gold Cup. Good luck, buddy.
You say, I think it's a competitive race, but there's one horse in here that I think could be just far better than these, and it's Don't Touch, who I got wrong in the Great St Wilfrid. I thought a lack of experience would do for him, but he only got up in the dying strides on soft ground, but it was a really impressive win, and he's drawn, I think, in the right spot as well here. The better ground will help him, and I do think in an Ayr Gold Cup you do need a horse that gets a slight bit further than 6 furlongs or almost, and he looks as though he'd be getting 7 furlongs in time. And I just think he'd be too good for them. I mean, you've got Jack Dexter in again. I think the ground's gone against him somewhat. If it was soft the ground, I'd probably be more interested in him, like I was 2 years ago when I thought it was a moral good thing in this race, only for Highland Kalori to beat him. He reopposes, actually, and he's been running okay of late, and I can see him going well at a bigger price. It's a really strange race. I mean, there are horses in here like Heaven's Guest who normally are put up in these big field handicaps, but I think in this race there are so many horses that are not very well handicapped, and I just think that Don't Touch is the best horse in the race, and I think he could win this very comfortably. I did like Tanseal's win 2 starts ago, but the problem for me is that he's drawn 25, and I'd rather him have a lower draw, which is odd for Ayr, because normally you want to be drawn high, but with what they've done this year, apparently they've moved the stand side rail in to negate the bias, and it's worked. So I think you want to be up the middle. I'm not going to talk about Lexington Abbey because that's Callum's horse, but I think he could run well at a bigger price as well. Don't Touch, I think it's horrible to say in a 25 runner handicap, but I think he's a good thing here. That could bite me tomorrow, but I think he is. There's nothing in the race that convinces apart from him.
Bold words to use there from Adam Webb in the Ayr Gold Cup. I'm from a betting point of view, I'm genuinely more interested in the Silver Cup than I am for the Gold Cup. Personally, there's 2 that I'd back each way in this race. One of them being Golden Steps, who has waited for this race since winning the consolation race for the Stewards Cup at Glorious Goodwood. He won really well on that occasion. Seems to be a horse going in the right direction. He's gone up £7 from Goodwood up to a mark of 103, which I don't think is beyond him, but out of stall 10, it's not too badly drawn. He should be able to negate his way towards the far side if Martin Harley wishes to go towards the far side, of course, but I'd imagine he would. And also another one at a bigger price that also ran very well at Glorious Goodwood, but in the main race itself, in the Stewards Cup, was 4th, is Dinkum Diamond, who always seems to have his big wins or big runs when Kathy Gannon is injured and on the sidelines. I'd love it if Kathy Gannon were to get a big race win or even just a good result out of Dinkum Diamond. He's 25-1, but he's not unfeasibly handicapped. He didn't run his best race last time out behind Polybius, but if you go back to that Glorious Goodwood form, he wouldn't be too far away. Out of stall 14 as well, he's another one that should be able to negate his way towards the far side. Again, whether Kathy Gannon want to do that or not, that remains to be seen. But 25-1, I could give Dinkum Diamond a bit of an each-way squeak, and also Golden Steps around 12-1, a bit of an each-way squeak as well, with Martin Harley on board instead of Frankie Dettori this time. Now, we've built it up for the whole show, Callum. Lexington Abbey, the horse of the whole year that you signified could well be an Ayr Gold Cup horse, gets his chance tomorrow.
He does, doesn't he? I'm fascinated to see how he gets on. I think everything's right for him. Probably ideally, I'd want a little bit of rain because, well, he goes on anything, to be honest. He's got really good form on fast ground, actually, so it shouldn't be any worry at all. The jockey booking's a cracking one. and he's clearly been targeted at this race for some time. So, if he doesn't run well tomorrow, I'll be disappointed because everything looks in his favour. Don't Touch could be too good for these. I was impressed by him in the St Wilfrid. He's still quite babyish, I think. Actually, it was only his 5th start, and it might just catch him out tomorrow. But at the same time, you'd be a bit surprised if he didn't end up the best of these in the future. I mean, he could be a group horse, and I may have to have a saver on him because it would be quite nice to see him really confirm what's been such a highly promising start to his career. I think everything's in the favour of Highlander Claim tomorrow as well. It's a similar boat with Lexington Abbey, that he's got everything in his favour. If he doesn't run well tomorrow, he never runs well again. That's not true, but it's Highlander Claim at the end of the day. But I think the dry ground will really help him. And I've already backed him anti-post at 20, so I'm sitting pretty on both, to be honest. I've got Lexington Abbey at 50 to 1. So they're 3 I like, and the 4th one, another I really cannot go without backing, is Toofy. I think the Visor really freshened him up. I thought he shaped really nicely behind Hoofit at Donny last week, where he came from slightly further back than ideal. Varian's becoming the master of these big handicaps as well. He's had a fantastic year in these sprint handicaps. Some cracking runs in defeat with Toofy, particularly his second to Magical Memory, which looks extremely good form. Kirby up is a positive. They're 4 for me. I think it's a fantastic review of this race. I will have to back. I'm going to back all 4, so I can't really go down on 1. I will have to stick loyal to Lexington Abbey. If I had to choose one, I would say Lexington Abbey, followed by Highlander Claim.
Yeah, I wish you luck with Lexington Abbey. He's been on about this for quite a while, and I think, was it 50 to 1 you backed him at?
I have, yeah.
I wish you luck with that, sir. I wish you luck.
I need it.
That is the final race of the 8 that we're going to be covering here on The Other Hoof. We have 6 minutes until the start of the England-Fiji game. So with that, let's rattle through some questions now. Still time to get yours in at On The Other Hoof, and we'll read them out right now. Jeff Handley says, a Gold Cup, he's gone for Buckstay, for Jane Chapelheim, eye-catching jockey booking, and sound advice for the in-form Keith Dalglish racing. Good luck with those, Jeff. Oh, God, Rebecca Adams says... just how annoyed was Luke when no one recognised him in the William Hill shot earlier? #Diva. Not that annoyed. I was more annoyed that Rosina decided to hang for 5 furlongs. Didn't get a place.
He was deeply annoyed. Knowing Luke, deep down, he was really annoyed that he walked in and nobody recognised him.
There are wonderful shop staff in Fulham-ish.
And they wouldn't recognise you.
I recognise them. Great people. Graham Woods said, a question for all of us. Who would you rather side with in the Dewhurst, Air Force Blue or Emotionless? For me, I'd side with Emotionless. Adam?
If he
prices?
If he turns up Air Force Blue, off the pair.
Right. Callum?
I'd probably say Air Force Blue, actually.
Fair enough. 2 against 1.
I
didn't expect to be
was really impressed with him last. He was really... I mean, both of them were really impressive, but I was really impressed with Air Force Blue. I thought he looked a proper horse. And to be honest, I think I'm still convinced he's Warfronts are 2-year-olds.
Yeah,
so I think Air Force Blue is more the complete package than Emotionless.
It is a shame that Air Force Blue is by Warfront.
Yeah.
Because they probably have a blinding 2-year-old season, and then we'll see next year. Hopefully he doesn't do a Warfront. Tim McEwen, probably a question more towards Callum. Any thoughts on a Newmarket card tomorrow? A few good races there tomorrow afternoon. There's one also I was interested in tomorrow, actually. Disdain in one of the later handicaps. I can't remember what time it is, so forgive me for that. But Disdain, 5 o'clock is it? For Lady Chapelheim. Lady Cecil. God.
Lady Chapelheim.
All right, top tugs are grey. Yeah, disdain for me. Adam, anything, or Callum, anything?
Final handicap. I like Spring Offensive. I know it's one of Callum's horses to follow, but I liked his win last time out, and I think he should be winning that. So
my nap comes in that race, and it's not that. So yeah.
Fair enough. Callum, anything at Newmarket tomorrow? Or?
I haven't had a look yet, to be honest.
Other than that.
Check Callum's Twitter later on, Mr. McEwen, for anything at Newmarket. I promise I'll make him tweet it for you. Kai Wills wasn't first sending in a question today. I am shocked. He says, well done, Adam Webb and Callum Medell on your naps last week. I'm afraid
Thank
Adam's
you.
doesn't count, so well done to Callum.
Yeah.
Surely Eagle Top
It does.
is a... Huh?
It does count.
No.
It does.
Surely
I do the profit and loss, so it counts.
In fairness, you need it, so...
Yeah, I do need it.
He says, surely Eagle Top is a must with a balls-deep bet. The legacy of Michael lives on. Probably. He should win. He really
Is
should.
that a tenner or no? I'm joking. You should win. It's not my idea of a balls deep bet though. Well, I said he deserves to be that price, but I don't back odds on. And
No, I wouldn't back him at odds on anyway. Like, I just
Potentially
not
for
a great
multiples.
price. Maybe.
Then two more pressing questions. One of them we'll answer at a later date, Kai. The other question that we'll do that is, what is the panel's biggest ever win in the horse race? We'll answer that another time. We'll probably do like a specific Q&A show or whatever. So we'll answer that at a later date. And the question that has really got me going here is, what's the best munch (brackets food) that you've had on a race course, boys?
there's nothing really noteworthy that I can think
I
of.
tell you what, actually, no. At Goodwood, if you go into not the big enclosure, the second one down, they've got a little cafe in the right.
Yeah.
In the inside, and you can get a sausage roll. It's massive. It fills you up for the whole day, and then more.
You got like
Yeah,
one of those
it's
last
£2.
year, didn't you? It was ridiculous.
£2.
Yeah.
Honestly, that place. If you go to Goodwood next time, go into the main grandstand in like I can't remember what is it, Lennox?
Yes.
I think it is.
Yeah, it's Lennox. Go into the grandstand in the Lennox enclosure. As you're walking in, on the right, there's a cafe there. They do awesome sausage rolls. I can highly recommend those. Indeed, I think Callum can as well.
Yeah, they're very good. And also the Newmarket ones on the July course, I think only Pouters. Very good.
Yeah, absolutely. They're the more pressing matters anyway that we like to cover here on The Other Who.
Yeah, and Josh Pearson would agree with that. He loves
1 minute. Jeff Hadley, like Kimro too, he has a high knee action. So tomorrow for Railing Ground, Wolf Suit for Tom Dascombe at Newbury. Good luck with that, Jeff. You're joining Adam with Cumro, and also Kai Wills also agrees with Cumro on slow ground is a decent stick. AB with Sir Isaac Newton at Chester. Hashtag Go Cumro. One final tweet as well from Dale Alco, who says, "I will try to listen this time. Then maybe I won't get the naps confused."
He thought I napped green light, and he done a bet, 4 horses, the first 3 had won. He asked me, "Are you confident?" I said, "I didn't nap green light, I napped George Bowen." Oops.
Ouch. Right, and with that, Dale, let's move on to our naps. Adam, where are you going for this week?
Cumro at Newbury.
Cumro at Newbury for Adam. I'm also sticking at Newbury in the same race, 250. I'm going to nap Top Tug in the 250 at Newbury. And Callum?
Pajama pie in the last at Newmarket.
So you do have a fancy at Newmarket?
Yeah, that's what I said. It's my nap at Newmarket.
So you're saving it for us.
Well, you didn't say it. You didn't say it for Tim McEwen's question.
He did.
I did.
No, you didn't.
He did.
No,
I heard
absolute
it.
nonsense. Order in the court. Thank you very much for tuning in to On the Other Hoof this week. Apologies if we have a slow internet. It's something we can't really fix. We are. The kick-off time for the rugby. Enjoy the rugby this evening. Enjoy this weekend of betting. We'll see you next week here on The Other Hoof. But until then, come on England, and goodbye.